I put my invisible thumb up. So, if you happen to have Starman's power, this is literally the best way to do this. Though you still have to make this jump right here, which is not easy. Alright, and then this is I guess kind of a unique... I don't think we've seen this yet from a Mega Man game. So, you've got, you know, stuff. If you jump too high, you will die. They want you to use your slide a lot, but you'll probably run out of space in some cases, so... Okay, let's switch over to our Buster Cannon again. Don't need to use Starman's power at all. I will say, however, adding the Buster, you know, the Charge Buster, which they made a better version in 5 than they did in 4. They introduced the Charge Buster in 4, but it's not nearly as big as it is in 5. So, I guess is okay, but whatever. So you jump over that, he comes down. You jump over that, he comes down. He's trying to do crash damage when he comes down. But yeah, you can see how he's not that difficult because the blade more or less comes down from... well, not necessarily where he goes up, but it's close. And now we're just gonna smush him with our little pinky finger. So if this was a Mega Man X boss, you would only be able to do damage to him when he was in the air. So basically you'd go up and fly, you'd pause him, he'd come crashing down. That'd be the only way you'd be able to do damage to him. Alright, we got the gyro attack in Rush Jet. I appreciate the game doesn't waste... this game doesn't waste your time. It's just like, yeah, you know what a Rush Jet is. You've been playing Mega Man since Mega Man... you know, you've had a version of Rush Jet since Mega Man 2. Even if it wasn't called Rush Jet in Mega Man 2. You know what it is. It's not special. Whenever you pass the level, we're just going to tell you, hey, remember Rush Jet? Yeah, you know I have access to it. Okay, great. Whereas other games, it's like, hey, did you know that you got this power? Take a look at how cool you look now in a different color than blue. Oh, guess what? You also got a Dr. Light upgrade. Isn't that awesome? But I guess in this game, you also have the added benefit, detriment. Dr. Light is captured in this game. So... yo, we did it! Oh, by the way, Eddie's still here. As you probably already noticed, he is still kicking. Even though I believe he was supposed to be a Dr. Cossack robot, he will start appearing in every other Mega Man game from now on. And there's another great example of Mega Man teaching you. We're going to introduce those guys a little bit more. But we're going to create a situation where the first 1 or 2 you fight, or 3 or 4, are completely benign. You can't possibly get hurt by them because you're not on the same level as them. Here's another example. That guy only fires 3 directions, diagonally, straight up. You can't possibly be damaged by him until you go over top of him. That one, however, is not so much. But if you play Mega Man 4, you probably remember that. E-Tank. Free E-Tank, might I add. We go! Oh my goodness! Oh, I'm falling! Okay, that was fun. So, Unless I'm mistaken, I could be mistaken. I think this spot right here is the only place you can get a maximum canister before we get to the castle stage. Now when we get into the castle stages, I'm not 100% sure where those are all hidden. I know they're, for the most part, there's at least one in plain sight. So even if you get caught up or stuck or whatever, the game's not like going to be like, oh, well, you should have saved that. Sorry. Ooh, we're doing great. Yeah, you suck. I don't play with you. You're no fun. No fun to play with. Would you rather possibly lose lots of life to this guy, or just slide underneath of him? You decide. If you use gyro power, blade power, I'm throwing it straight across right now, but if you press the up button, it will also go up. But you have to time it right, otherwise it doesn't work like you want it. You'll either cause it to go up too soon or too late. So I was just waiting for him to more or less get down on my level so I could throw it at his face. You got crystals. Crystal Eye. What does your crystal eye say, Greg? Don't know. Don't ask me why I just called out my brother's name. What does your crystal eye say? Greg's physically not here. I did see him this past weekend for Thanksgiving. It was nice. I also saw his cat and my sister and future brother-in-law and their dog. It was a pretty full house. I don't know how we're going to do it at Christmas time when we had sister-in-law Diana, niece Eloise, brother Steven, along with brother Greg, his cat, my sister, her dog, and boyfriend, fiance. I mean, it'd be pretty crazy if we're just talking the... Well, whatever. Not super difficult because Steve and Diana won't have a car, so that won't block up the driveway any more than yeah, if you don't kill them fast enough, they just kill themselves. It'd be like, come on, man, don't do that. That's not cool. That's free. Yo. I still think Mega Man 4 is probably the hardest Mega Man game, front to back. But as I mentioned in episode 1, this game has an excellent difficulty curve where at the beginning some of these bosses, some of the levels aren't terribly difficult, like you should be able to get through them. But when you get closer to the castle stages, you start to really notice, like, I'm having to use E-Tanks where I previously did not. And I'm having to focus on using either by design or because it's easier, I have to use boss powers. Which is not necessarily a terrible thing, but do get kind of annoyed when enemies are only affected by... Wow, I'm getting really lucky. Holy shit. I don't like when enemies are only affected by boss powers. It makes me angry. Like, mainly when you fight Wily and he's like, No, my capsule's not bad against anything. Except for maybe, like, a very difficult to use power like a Bubble Man on a capsule that mainly floats in the air, and it's like, that is not what Bubble Man's power's for. Another one up, jeez. This game just gets generous, I don't know. Weird. Hey, don't back up. You're just gonna create yourself more problems, Chris. Either dodge or kill the— oh my goodness. I may have like— I want to say I'm like at 8 lives now. Just— I think I've gotten like 5 in this stage alone. Ridiculous. Alright, I'm all lined up. Boom! Here's another one, jeez. But this is actually part of the stage. Brush oil. Here's an E-tank. Only way to get the E-tank is to use, I don't know what it's like. We'll just— it's spear. Oh, I'm sorry, super arrow. Super arrow is useful for getting that. Oh, thanks, Eddie. I kind of needed that for my super arrow. Super arrow is good against certain enemies. You will not be seeing me use it probably, except as maybe a gag to see if they're actually bad against it or not. Like certain robot masters are actually bad against it. I don't care. This is— for some reason, this is like— every game has a different variation on the mets that I either really like or I don't really understand. Like, in the original game, instead of your blast tinking off their helmet, they just absorb it. Doesn't do any damage, but at the same time, you can just stand there and just blast their assholes open. Yeah, that's how you defeat Stone Man. And the more he jumps, you either have to wait for him to get back up, or you put it right underneath his butthole, because he's coming to. Like that. Because otherwise it doesn't do any damage to him. Do it. There we go. You either have to hit him before he crumples to the ground, or you have to hit him after he wakes up, which can be a little bit more difficult because as soon as he comes back into like his regular form, he's liable to jump immediately. Alright, we're gonna use the most, maybe not the most useless power, but it's probably in the top 10 original Mega Man game worst power of all time. Very difficult to use. Doesn't tend to do a ton of damage. And even though it is good against Charge Man, I'm a little confused by, like, how is this supposed to be, like, effective? Like, naturally effective is what I mean. Like, for instance, like, Bubble Man, bad against Metal Man. What does Metal Man do that's kind of different from everybody else? You can throw directionally. Nice. More free lives. I'm up to 9. That's max. I do like the little choo-choo mets. They're funny to me. I was mentioning mets. In Mega Man 1, they don't— your shots don't tink off their helmet. but in every other Mega Man game they do. In some of the other later Mega Man games, the Mets will move, which will give you more opportunity to shoot them once they're unhidden. I think in Mega Man 2 or 3, the Mets only shoot straight forward, which is weird. Mega Man 3, of course, has all the Mets in it. I'm gonna die now. Just like that. So if I haven't mentioned it already, I wish, and I don't know what the later Mega Man games do, but I hope all of the later Mega Man games after, say, 7, give you, wow, thank you game, gives you a dedicated glide button. Is this down and jump shit's for the birds? There's a lot of times where you want to jump, and because you happen to be, instead of holding forward, you're holding down forward. The game thinks you want to slide. And you're like, no, I don't want to slide. If I wanted to slide, I'd be holding down. But the game's not smart enough to realize the down and down forward are two different directions for you. Yep, I'm gonna die again. That's fine, it's fine. Trading one life for another, right? By the way, you see how in the background it says C01, C01. If that's some sort of joke, I don't get it. I don't know what it means. I have to imagine it has to do with probably Capcom, and it was probably their Division 1 development team made this game, I'm guessing, but I'm not 100% sure. Sometimes I want to like be in some of these Mega Man pitch meetings, go, you know, just like listen to people that want to make the next Mega Man game. And they go, yeah, we should get back to the original Mega Man. You know, no, not 3, no, not 4, 1, or 2 rather. We gotta get back to the Mega Man where you don't have a slide or a charge. And like, everyone in that office should be like, you're stupid, that's stupid. Taking away Mega Man's slide because you like what 2 best. And then like every so often you'll get like a different guy who's probably making a different, wants to make a different Mega Man game. Is like, we should make Mega Man balls hard. Like really impossible to defeat hard. And because that's what real fans want. They want the game to be impossibly difficult to beat. Which is not true. I want my Mega Man game to be fun and challenging, but not impossible. I don't want to play another Mega Man 4. Not make me happy playing Mega Man 4. I want a little challenge, obviously. I want to be able to learn the bosses and, you know, their patterns and try to figure out, well, you know, Charge Man stays exclusively on the ground, so don't slide into his ankles because you will die. And then in the same breath, like, oh, this guy, you're gonna want to slide, i.e., Napalm Man, because it is actually useful. Or perhaps necessary. So this is how you defeat Choo Choo Man. You use Rock, and mainly when you're jumping over him, you want to use Choo Choo Rock. Yeah, if he does his woo, he's invincible. Will not take any damage. Like that. For some reason, this version of Charge Man is more difficult than his end of the game, you know, boss rush mode. He tends to do the invincibility attack far less. And he tends to do the charge a lot more. Makes it much easier to use rocks against him. Because he's walking back and forth and doing his choo-choo attack instead of trying to do that, I guess, fire coal out of his shoot attack. Whatever you want to call it. You got charge kick, which I love. I love this. You've had a slide since 3. 2 games later, they're like, what if we tied your slide to an attack? I mean, like Top Man, where you get a jump to use it? Yeah, but sliding and actually make it useful. Oh, that'd be so cool, said someone. It is. It's pretty cool. So you won't see me using it very much because I'll mainly save it for using on the boss, but I may have to use it at some point in one of the castle stages. We'll see. If you get too close to these openings, it will suck you down. So you want the top opening because that leads you to a Mega Man. This is fine. This area is not difficult. It's not very long, but it's got a couple kind of interesting gimmicks to it. And they don't really push the gimmick too far. It's just like, hey, this is one of them. Hey, here's a bubble. You can stand on the big bubble, but the little bubble you can't. Oh, and don't get hit. Don't fall into the spikes. So they could have made this much more difficult than they actually... They could have made this puzzle like, hey, here's an introduction to this puzzle, and then made you do a much more difficult version of it later. But they decided, nah, we're going to introduce you to it now, and you're going to do the most difficult version of it right now. That's literally all you have to do right there. And then you have to make the jump over, which isn't hard. There's one little bubble to get you over there. See? Isn't that nifty? Right, this is part 2 of what kind of makes this stage unique or interesting. In previous Mega Man games, they gave you Rush Marine, which is more or less useless. So instead of saying, oh, here's a rush upgrade that you're never going to use, or you're going to use for 5 seconds in one stage, they say, well, here's a whole stage dedicated to Rush Marine, but you're not actually using any rush power to do it. It's completely free, but you do have to do this section completely. So you have to get past the Sniper Joes, the buoys, the fish, and then there'll be a mid-boss that you'll have to fight, and then there'll be a second half of that you also have to do as well that'll have more Sniper Joes, more fish, more buoys. That's how you do it. You basically... Well, you may have to double hop that because the Sniper Joes will essentially shoot you once and then you'll have to hop over both the shot as well as them. So you'll probably have to do a double hop. This is the halfway boss. You can guess where he's bad. He's got a big... This is much easier than some of the Mega Man 4. Hey, you can only hit me in this very small area. Button bullshit, but... His pattern's pretty simple too, as you can see. But I'm going to die if I don't get health. Or if I don't... You know what I mean? It's very difficult not to get hit by the Sniper Joes, because you have to do a short hop, and then a bigger hop. So I got killed again, as you can see. So I have to do that whole section over again.